We bring you this special report direct from the centre of Gran Canaria, where wildfires have been burning for 3 days and 3 nights. As you can see behind me, the caldera de Tejeda has been blackened. The hillsides underneath and all around the town of Artenara, both of which managed to escape a fire only 1 week earlier. There have been no injuries reported. More than 9,000 people have been evacuated from the mountainside, and more than 1,000 firefighters have been working in shifts day and night to try to bring the blaze under control. After 2 days, the fire remained still uncontrolled as the head of it entered the ancient pine trees of Tamadaba, often called the lung of Gran Canaria. More than 80% of the forest is thought to have now been damaged, although the damage was suggested not to be quite as bad as originally thought. The trees will regenerate, but it takes almost 10 years for such damage to be completely eradicated naturally. There will be replanting efforts after the fire, but right now the fire crews and several aircraft are doing everything they can to try to bring this blaze under control. Worst case scenario was feared that the fire might enter the forest of Inagua, heading down towards the west coast of the island, La Aldea, and if that had happened, then there was a serious danger that the fire might enter the southwestern municipality of Mogan. Had it entered Mogan, then further evacuations would have been necessary. It is a credit to the Gran Canaria firefighting teams, the Cabildo and the government of the Canary Islands that they have evacuated so many people ahead of any real danger reaching them. It has meant that there have been no casualties reported, no injuries, and a lot of people safe, although some houses may well have burned. As you can see behind me, smoke has started to plume from underneath the villages of Artenara and Tejeda, an area that was thought to have been controlled. However, high winds and the tinderbox conditions on the ground have meant that the flames have been able to reignite, and we've got more smoke coming up out of the hills. The fire is nowhere near as bad as it was over the last 2 days. The Spanish state have sent in firefighting troops and 4 seaplanes. There's more than 16 aircraft been fighting the fires for the last 2.5 days, with 4 more having been sent today. There's a total of more than 20 aircraft in the air, including 2 coordination aircraft. They're taking water primarily from freshwater pools used for agricultural means and from reservoirs. There are seaplanes also which are refilling their tanks from the Bay of Las Palmas port and dousing the flames with seawater. It's hoped that by later on today, the primary flanks and fronts of the fire will have been brought under control. However, with winds and conditions like these, there's no way to truly predict what tomorrow will hold. One thing is clear, however, the 9,000 evacuees have all been taken care of and looked after by their neighbours in the surrounding mountain towns, those that are outside of the fire zone. The fire zone itself continues for 120 square kilometres. That's about 3,000 acres or 12,000 hectares. There are several aircraft in the air, not least of all the double-rotored Russian Kamov helicopters, one of which originally started to attend the fire based out of Tenerife. These helicopters are able to lift almost 4.5 tons of water, and the key element here is that they lift them from freshwater sources. This means that agriculture and the vegetation on the island are not harmed by the attempts to control the flames. The seaplanes are extremely efficient, carrying about 5 tons of water. The only difference being that they are dousing the flames with seawater, and this can cause problems for regrowth later. None of that is of great interest right now. The Canary Islands government is focused on avoiding any human casualties and making sure that as much of the fire can be controlled as possible. The head of the fire has continued near uncontrolled into the pine trees of Tamadaba, overlooking the northwestern port town of Agayete. A lot of people have been evacuated from there also. Mogan was put on high alert on Monday night. However, Tuesday morning brought good news as the fire seemed to have not spread due to some essential factors. the temperatures dropping below 30 degrees centigrade, the humidity levels rising to above 30%, and we just have to hope now that the winds also drop below 30 kilometers per hour, the 30-30-30 rule, which is used in these sorts of forest fires. We're in great hands. Nevertheless, this is a fearsome time for Gran Canaria. The firefighting force on Gran Canaria are probably the most efficient and best in the world when it comes to mountain terrain and pine forest fires. Nevertheless, everyone is being asked to keep off the summits and away from the mountain trails, and to make sure that they're looking out for their neighbours and each other, and of course for themselves. Stay safe, Gran Canaria. We're doing our best for you. The English-speaking community have come together in grand style on the south of Gran Canaria, raising funds initially for the first fire, in which there were no casualties and no properties burned. But then as this second fire has taken hold, it's really become important, the signs of solidarity shown by the foreign residents here on the island. More than €7,000 was raised by two bars in particular, Dicey Riley's and Extremes bars in Puerto Rico. And we here at the Canary TV and the Canary News have also got an online campaign running, trying to raise €10,000 as part of the Long Walk Gran Canaria fund for this year. The Long Walk Gran Canaria is a coast-to-coast walk across the highest point on this island that happens every year. This year, the final week in September, 27th to 29th. We usually raise money for our local Canarian Breast Cancer Association and for the local food bank project. This year, we've also got an extra fund raising money for replanting projects and to show some gratitude to our firefighters. Most of the evacuees are being very well looked after in the centres that have been set up around the mid-altitude towns of the island. And indeed, the monies raised in Puerto Rico have already started to help to ensure that they are being fed properly and that they have any of their needs being met while the firefighters do their job. The fund that we're raising is already over €5,000. We too will assign money to anyone who's in specific need immediately over the next days and weeks, and then we plan to use much of the money to transport any volunteers who want to join the official replanting projects. We quote official because it's very important that people don't take things into their own hands. There are official projects already starting. We are looking to the Foresta Fundación, which is a Canaries-based organisation for pine forest replanting, where people can sponsor tree replanting. There will also be volunteer actions occurring over the coming weeks and months, and we'll be giving you more information about that. We hope to transport as many volunteers as possible to go and join in those efforts. And finally, if there's any money left out of these funds, we want to try and show some sort of gratitude to the amazing firefighters and heroes who've been trying to keep us safe here on Gran Canaria. A total of 21 aircraft, more than 1,000 firefighting staff, military troops sent in from the mainland. This is officially the largest ever deployment of firefighters in the Canary Islands in history. We'll keep you informed with plenty of videos and information, and of course news items on the canarynews.com. The Canary Guide for this weekend is cancelled, as most major events will have been cancelled also, and all we can ask you to do is stay safe, be sensible, try not to spread any rumours that you can't verify, and listen to official sources. Until we see you next, hopefully the following weekend from this one, we hope you'll take care of yourselves and each other and make sure you stay safe on Gran Canaria.